All right, so this segment of our Elements of Music unit covers another basic property of sound, how loud or soft it is. We have lots of ways of describing what's happening with volume in a piece of music, and we refer to that whole set of different terms as dynamics. These serve as both directions to musicians when they're reading or playing a piece of music, and also are the terms we use when we want to talk about what we hear. One way we use dynamics is to draw attention to a note by making it suddenly louder than its neighbors. This symbol looks like a greater than marking, which kind of makes sense since it's a greater amount of sound given to that one note. Here's what this looks like and sounds like in a piece of music. There are two notes here. The first one is given the accent. You might recognize this tune. We generally use Italian words when we describe volume in music. This is probably because the system we use to write down music had a large part of its development in Italy, and we simply stuck with the original system rather than do any translating. One of the most common places we encounter these Italian words is when we are describing a larger portion of a piece of music. For instance, say a large section is soft, we often just see a single marking, piano, for the entire section. If an entire section of a piece of music is loud, you see the marking forte, which literally means strong in Italian. If you speak Spanish, forte is an easy one to remember because the word fuerte in Spanish also means strong. Now you might say to yourself, wait a minute, there's an instrument called a piano. Does that mean the piano is really called the soft? Well, actually, the full name of the piano isn't just piano, it's pianoforte. And it does have something to do with its ability to play dynamics. Keyboard instruments around the time the pianoforte was born had a lot of trouble playing both soft and loud, and even more trouble gradually getting softer or louder. So the piano's name was good promotion in a way, as its name describes one of the things it's really good at, which is playing soft and loud, and pretty much everywhere in between. So it's really called the soft loud. Now, another thing about writing down music is that they try to save ink and space on the page whenever possible. And writing a word like forte or very loud, fortissimo, is just too much wasted ink. So instead, they came up with a system of abbreviations. One F is forte. Two Fs is very loud or fortissimo. Three Fs are very, very loud, fortissimo, and so on. Piano, soft, works much the same way. We get one P for soft, two Ps for very soft, pianissimo, three Ps for very, very soft, and so forth. We also came up with a way of describing things in between soft and loud. We add the Italian word mezzo, which means middle or medium, and we get mezzo piano, meaning medium soft. In other words, not too soft. We also add this modifier to forte. Mezzo forte is medium loud, so not quite loud, a little softer than loud. And what we end up with is a very varied spectrum of possible volumes using only 3 words, or in this case 3 letters, like this. Next, we need a way to describe volume that changes gradually. These terms, also in Italian, get used fairly frequently in popular music. So you might recognize the word crescendo, which means to gradually get louder, or the words decrescendo or diminuendo, which both mean to gradually get softer. In a piece of music, we can give this instruction to get gradually louder or softer in 2 ways. One is using the abbreviation of the words themselves, like crescendo being CRESC, or decrescendo or dim for diminuendo. Or we place hairpins like these under the music to signify that it would increase or decrease in volume. You can be even more specific by putting a dynamic marking like this one at the beginning of the hairpin, which sets your starting volume, and then another dynamic marking at the end to show how loud you should be when you get to the end. Can you describe what happens with the dynamics in this example? There are 5 tones here. They begin at fortissimo, very loud, gradually decrease in volume, and arrive at mezzo piano, or medium soft. Speaking of crescendos and decrescendos in pop music, here's one of my favorite gradual changes of dynamic in a song by Rage Against the Machine called Bomb Track. So which is it? Is it a decrescendo or a crescendo? If you picked crescendo, you were right. It's a great moment in the song. It really creates so much energy. Okay, so here's our summary for this segment. An accent is a note that is suddenly louder than its neighbors. Piano means soft, and we add diminutives to make it even softer, like pianissimo. Forte means loud, and we add to this word's length too to make it louder, with words like fortissimo and fortissimo. We modify these with the word mezzo, which means medium or middle. We get gradually louder with either the abbreviation for crescendo or the symbol for crescendo. We gradually get softer with words like decrescendo or diminuendo or their symbol. Our listening example of Stravinsky's Firebird makes great use of dynamics, so I would go check that one out now to hear these concepts in context.